Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling continue with more of New Japan Soul, featuring, of course, the semifinals for the opening spots available in the G1 Climax at the A block and the B block. So we will determine who will be the finalists to, of course, move on to the next stage of that for those open spots. And then, of course, we move on with AEW with Beach Break. As you know, we just come off from Forbidden Door. However, we continue with more of the matches of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Two men's matches, one women's match. And then, of course, we have the AEW International title defended as well. And then we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed. So, let's get started with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put certain information on this episode, I can either put it on a video on the next episode or on a video by itself. We also do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also do Nagasaki Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and, of course, other cool content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions set aside, it's time to, of course, the need for speed. So let's begin with, of course, our very first review, and that is New Japan with New Japan Soul. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling with New Japan Soul. This is day 6, I believe, in this particular show. We continue on with more of the qualifier matches in the G1, but we'll get to that in a bit. Now, our opening match, we have, of course, just 5 guys consisting of Taka Michinoku, Yuya Uemura, Sanada, and of course, Doiki is leading the group. Now, if you guys probably know why, their opponents consistent of GBH, Tomoaki Hamna, Togi Makabe, Yuji Nagata, and of course El Desperado. Now you can guess, as you know, in 2 days' time, of course, Desperado will defend the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title against Doiki. So this is a match I think many people are invested. I think many of you are. So this is more of a preview, so what we got to go. But the one thing what's interesting is Despi teams up with the third generation, which is very unusual coming from him. Now we know he's currently not affiliated with any faction after the dissolvement of Strong Style and, of course, Suzuki Gun, but he's been considered to have been one of the most favorable wrestlers in the junior heavyweight division. But you can guess that this match was, of course, a warm-up not just for Doki to get his hands on the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, but at the same time bringing momentum for just 5 guys. But it was in the end Yuya Uemura with the crossbody onto Hamna, allowing for him and his team to pick up the win. Now our next match, this one is of course we have those scumbags, the House of Torture, Kanemaru, Sho, and Ren Narita taking on LIJ's Titan, Hiromu, and of course Yota Tsuji. Now, as you probably can guess, the match started just fine as it is. But of course, the other members, that includes Evil, Dick, and of course Yujiro showed up, decided to get involved. But however, luckily the other members of LIJ consisted of Naito, Bushi, and of course Shingo showed up to even the odds. So the match later turned. Originally the match was thrown out, but later it was restarted into a 6-on-6 match. But of course, like any other match, we know House of Torture would throw in tactics. They'll go play dirty as they always do, because that's why everybody hates them, because they're scumbags. And that's the good thing, is they don't have any titles. That's a good thing out of the plus. But however, it was Bushi who in fact picked up the win for his team when he applied a leg lock onto, of course, Dick Togo. So yeah, Dick is the weakest one out of all of them, despite that he used a garrote. But that ends it right there. But don't forget, there is tension within LIJ in certain capacity. So we will see what happens from here on out. Now, let me recap certain things for all of you involving the G1. As you know, the G1 has been announced. The wrestlers that are participating this year has been revealed. I don't need to go through it. However, they did announce recently there's been 2 open spots, and one in the A block, one in the B block. So, however, they decided to put those who are going to involve. Now, however, we will go through it. Now, let's jump in with the qualifying match and qualifier in the A block. And now this is the semifinals for many of you to understand what goes on. Our first match, we have Boltin Oleg and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, of course, many of you would assume in this particular match, Tanahashi is the heavy favorite to win. However, Boltin Oleg has been impressive. Now, interesting factor of this, Boltin Oleg defeated his tag partner from who was part of the never openweight 6-man tag team championships, Toru Yano, and now he has to face the other one, Tanahashi, which was very interesting. But however, I don't think anybody expected the outcome, because I think many of you may have thought Tanahashi's in it, but a part of me would think maybe because Tanahashi's in it, I mean, this is the first time in what? In 22 years that he has. This will be the first he will be participating, because Boltin Oleg defeated him by applying the kamikaze. Now, some of you may question why he didn't want to participate. You got to remember, he's the president, so he has a lot of things to do outside of the ring. So I would say maybe that's the reason, but I cannot be too sure. But I would like to believe maybe that's the reason. Now, our next match, we have, of course, Cal Newman versus Kenta. Of course, Cal Newman, some people say he's the heavy favorite. He's been very, very grown ever since he first debuted in New Japan, coming all the way from the UK. But however, we would have assumed, because Kenta, being the snake that he is, he likes to cheat his way out. He used a referee to take a referee to block a certain attack by Newman, allowing himself to knock him out. But of course, Kenta, being Kenta, brought out a kendo stick in hopes that would help. But however, Cal Newman, as you know, refuses to stay down. So basically, it ends with Kenta being Oscutter by Cal Newman, being in the match. Now, this particular block, as you know, the finals, I think it would take place on the 5th of July. I'm not 200% sure. If it is, then whoever walks out between Boltin Oleg and Cal Newman, they will be most likely taking the open spot in the G1 this year. So I'm asking many of you, who do you want to see win? Will it be Boltin Oleg or Cal Newman? So we'll find out. Now, let's jump into our last and final 2 matches. And this one is, of course, the qualifier of the G1 in the B blocks. And we're in the semifinals. Now, our first match, we have Taichi versus TJP. So I think this is a much biased event for many people. I mean, Taichi, as you know, he has been asking to be in the G1 many times over, and there are times he hasn't been in, sometimes he hasn't. But however, I have to say it was the most intensified match. Now we know TJP, as you know, he's been making the jump from junior heavyweight to heavyweight. We have seen that many times before with many wrestlers. We saw that with Will Ospreay. We saw that with, of course, um, with El Fantasmo. So I think that's a very interesting development for him to make that jump. But however, it was in fact Taichi who picked up the win when he applied the Black Mephisto. So basically, he is now in the finals in the B block. Now our next match, this is a showdown within chaos. Yoshihashi Tomohiro Ishii. So I have to say this is the most impressive match ever. Now, many of you remember Yoshihashi from many years. We've always thought that he was the weakest link, but over time he has grown and all that. And because who could forget his first championship title he has ever held, which is the never open with six-man tag team championships with, of course, Goto and Ishii. That was always been one of the memorable moments. But his best moments we have all seen is when he became IWGP Tag Team Champion with Goto, and now he's pulling his own weight, jumping into this spot where he's like, okay, he has to adapt as a singles wrestler, and that's exactly what he did. But he knows that he has to face against one of the toughest and strongest SOBs on the planet, and that is Tomohiro Ishii. And I have to say, this was a bit of a challenge for him. It took every ounce of energy and strength for him to withstand Ishii. But Ishii, on the other hand, well, he actually could not continue on until Yoshihashi applied karma, and just like that, he's in the final. So this is going to be an impressive. I have to say, Yoshihashi has come a long way, and I'm sure Shinsuke Nakamura is proud of him. Those who don't know this, he was very close. Yoshihashi was very close to Nakamura, and he always looked at him as a big brother, and he always stated, I hope I made my big brother proud. And I'm sure Shinsuke is very happy for him. So, but however, we now know that, of course, in the finals for the A block qualifiers, it's going to be Taichi and Yoshihashi. So this is going to be a very tough match to watch. I'm a bit biased on this one as well, so we'll see where this one goes. But as again I ask, who do you want to see win this one to make it to the final spot of the B block? Will it be Taichi or will it be Yoshihashi? So we'll see what happens until then. But right now, we are done with New Japan. Let's move on with AEW Dynamite Beach Break. Okay, AEW Dynamite Beach Break. I think we're in Chicago for this one, I'm not sure. But anyway, we see an interview with Renee Paquette talking to Daniel Garcia along with Daddy Magic. As you all know, he's in the main event for the AEW International Championship. But as soon as he was talking, we see MJF. He said that he wants to be his corner. But now you can tell by Daddy Magic, he's not too keen on the idea, but he's willing to respect Daniel Garcia's decision. So we'll see how things turn out from here on out. Now, our opening match is I think this is the semifinals of the bracket of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament in the men's side. We do have one bracket, I don't know which bracket, but anyway, we have Bryan Danielson versus Pac. So this is a tough battle to begin with. Now, we know Pac, he's determined to make it all the way to the top, Bryan Danielson it. So you can say it's a bit of a biased type of match. But it took everything that these guys have in order to defeat. But there was many counters in this match as well. But it was Bryan Danielson that managed to counter this match, when he applied a crucifix onto Pac, allowing himself now be in the finalists next week in Calgary. However, we will find out later who will be the next. Now, our Our next, hold on. Yeah, our next interview we have, of course, is Willow Nightingale. As you know, she is in the semifinals in the Owen Hart tournament, Owen Hart Foundation tournament women's. That is practically one of the things we know. She knows what's at stake, so we'll see what happens. Now, as you know, Mark Briscoe comes out. He's not too concerned how things happened this past Sunday. He feels like that's the past, let's move forward. The one thing that right now he's more concerned is the blood and guts. So he was trying to do a promo. He even talked about uh, certain things, but apparently he was viciously attacked by Jack Perry, and then of course Kyle O'Reilly showed up, then Okada, then the Bucks, and then the Acclaim along with Daddy Ass. So the obvious question is, okay, who's going to be in the blood and guts? So that is very obvious. So that's pretty much what we're going to see from here on out. Now, our next interview, Renee Paquette, as you know, talks to Tony Storm and Mariah May. As you know, Mariah May defeated Saraya in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Um, she will face Hikaru Shida this coming Friday in Rampage. So we'll get to that at some point. And of course, Tony Storm retaining the belt against Mina. So I think many fans are probably expecting that we will see Mariah May versus Tony Storm. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, our next match, as we continue with the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, we have the women's side in the semifinals. We have Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. Now, don't forget, Chris betrayed Willow not too long ago, and then this happens. But of course, there is the possibilities that Willow could be screwed out of this match for obvious reasons. One, of course, Stokely Hathaway is in Chris Statlander's corner. Now, of course, the chain was in play, but however, Chris Statlander got distracted, almost got well. Stokely was conducting the distraction, and had the chain thanks to courtesy of that snake, Stokely Hathaway. But however, that did not work in their favor because Chris was almost close in whacking Stokely, but Willow rolled up and just picked up the win just like that. I think this is the biggest shock that has ever happened for Chris Statlander, but most likely she could be getting another opportunity to become two-time Owen Hart Foundation winner. But she's in the final, so she has to wait. Who will be her opponent involved in the finals? Will it be Hikaru? No, wait a minute. Who do we still have? Will it be Hikaru Shida or Mariah May? No, May and all that. So we'll see where that leads us. We'll find out. Anyway, we do see an interview with Jeff Jarrett. He didn't say a word, but however, Jeff Jarrett just walked out. He didn't have to say a word. But Jay Lethal tried to, like, how to say, not interpret it, but saying, but this is an important night for him because, of course, this is where he's honoring his closest friend, Owen Hart, and I think that's an important thing. So we'll get to that right now. Now, in the in-ring, we see the return. Tony Schiavone reintroduced everybody the return of Britt Baker. Of course, she talked about what we do know now. Of course, many of us have already assumed for a while that maybe she was on injury. Well, it turns out that she almost had a mini stroke or whatever. But of course, she told Tony Khan, that she wants to take time off to get healthy, and Tony Khan said yes. But however, of course, while she's sidelined, it's no secret that she probably was watching what's been happening in her absence, and now there's Mercedes Moné coming in. And of course, the EVPs are behind her on this one, so that sets it up. So they are going back and forth on this. So I think this is going to be a match I think many of you would probably be invested to see. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, of course, we do see Renee Paquette conduct an interview with Will Ospreay coming off from the loss he had at Forbidden Door. So he had a little chat with Don Callis and told him that he was out because he's not going back to his old roots. So that would explain everything. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, Chris Jericho made his way to the ring and apparently had security guards in the commentary booth, and then apparently by executive orders by the EVPs, Taz was barred from the building, and of course took over the commentary. I mean, he's saying that Taz was being unbiased for what happened. I mean, he didn't even make a muscle on him. And of course, he thinks that, oh, he's going to help his son. Taz doesn't need to help his son. That's He knows how tough Hook is. But however, he was watching Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook take on the Cage of Agony. Now, this is a very tough battle because these three men are huge individuals. So that plays out pretty well. However, the question does tell, can they survive? Well, we did see a triple submission on everyone's part, and that's exactly what happened. However, we should have seen it coming that this was an ambush by Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith. Shibata was attacked with the chair on his arm, thanks to, of course, Brian Keith. And then things get out of hand all the way to the back until Jericho went back to his wizard roots and threw a fireball into Hook's face. And of course, Lee was saying that he needs to respect Jericho. But of course, Hook doesn't respect Jericho for being what he is. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, our next match, we have Jeff Jarrett against a wild card. And many people have suspected it. It was, in fact, Hangman Adam Page. And then, of course, Hangman comes out with a unhinged, also with a huge chip on the shoulder. Not to mention, people were calling out whose house, all the rubbing in his face. But, of course, he did take out Jeff Jarrett with a... I mean, the fans were behind Jeff Jarrett, but... Hangman applied the Buckshot Lariat, then the Deadeye, and then just like that, he's in it. So he'll be facing against, who's the other match? Jay White in the semifinals. So we'll see what happens until then. However, we did see Hangman in the backstage. The Bucks even were happy for him. They try to act like nothing has ever happened, but Hangman is not here to play games. He has no interest being with the... It seems like he doesn't want nothing to do with the Elite since they abandoned him. So basically, he's like saying that he's going to win the entire tournament. But we will see what happens until then. Now, before we get to our main event, we did see MJF make his way to the commentary, be on the ringside. We start our international championship. Daniel Garcia versus Will Ospreay. The match was pretty good. I have to say, Daniel Garcia really giving it all. But the one thing that ended is, of course, MJF kind of wanted Daniel Garcia to use the brass knuckles. He declined, but of course, Will Ospreay, Lion, and Wayne actually give Daniel Garcia the hidden blade, and just like that, it was over. But however, MJF, being a friend that he is, well, the Salt of the Earth is back. So he whacked Daniel Garcia with the diamond ring, left him bloodied and bleeding. So Will Ospreay came out to help. So he was concerned for Daniel Garcia's, of course, his well-being. So most likely we will see a feud between Daniel Garcia and MJF. So that is probably something we will expect down the road. So we'll see what happens this coming Friday on Rampage and Collision on Saturday. So from here on out, anything could happen. But at this moment, we end things with AEW right here. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's get started with updates with upcoming events with the promotions. As you know, GCW for the 4th of July will have, by the time this video is out, you probably will get that information. We have, of course, people participating in the annual Backyard 6, which is in an undisclosed area. This is who they have. We have Claude Marlowe, portrayed by Ruckus. Then we have Kerry Morton, Tarzan Duran, Lucky 13th, Violent J, Hard Ass Nick, played by Nick Gage, JJ Allen, Dr. Redacted. Now, certain matches have been announced for this particular event. We have, of course, oh, wait a minute, I got other names here too. hold on. No, never mind. We got the matches. We have Amon consistent by Jimmy versus Claude Marlowe, and then we have Kerry Morton versus Sean Henderson, and then we got Lucky 13 versus Vampiro, portrayed by Facade. Then, of course, we have for the Untouchable event by the collaboration between West Coast Pro, Deadlock Pro Wrestling, and Prestige Wrestling. This will take place on the 20th of July. The West Coast Pro Tag Team titles will be defended. Los Suavecitos will defend their belts against Krusty Crew. I think that's what they call themselves. But yes, so we'll see. Now, as you know, we got the new tournament, Queens of the Indies. They'll take place on August 17th. Another match for the first round it's been announced. We have High End versus Maya World. And then, of course, we have a collaboration with a German promotion called German Wrestling Federation. They will be collaborating with RevPro with the Double Impact show on the 3rd through the 30th through the 31st of August. They announced Stephanie Vakir will be making her appearance. So that's going to be interesting to follow. Now, we do have, of course, some interesting developments coming up here. Those who know this, we have Yumi Ohka, who is the founder and the promoter of Pro Wrestling Wave. She just announced in a recent event that she'll be making her comeback on July 14th at Corkin Hall. It's been a while since we've seen or heard from her. The last thing we heard from her, she went to Australia to get married. For those who don't know this, Yumi is in fact a lesbian. So basically, she cannot get married in Japan, but other places, yes. So basically, Japan does recognize homosexuality, but they do not recognize same-sex marriages. So that's what happened. So it's great to hear from her. It's been a while that we have heard from her. Recently, developments have been coming about Daniel Garcia. It's been revealed that, of course, his contract with AEW will be expiring in the fall. However, a top name in AEW has said that he doesn't think that he'll be leaving, but there's the possibilities of re-signing. So there's that. And in a direct source close to Garcia said that his future will be likely focused soon. So basically, we will see what happens until then. Now, recently there was a joint press conference between Stardom and, of course, New Japan about this thing called the Wrestle Kingdom Week. Let me pull that up. Apparently, certain events that has been announced leading up to Wrestle Kingdom and other things as well. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Okay, so this is what they had talked about. This will begin on December 29th. December 29th, we have, of course, Stardom. We have Stardom with Queendom that will take place on the 29th of December in Ryogoku Sumo Hall. January 2nd, we have Pro Wrestling Matsuri, a joint event between both New Japan and Stardom. January 3rd, Stardom has the New Year Dream. January 4th, of course, Wrestle Kingdom 19 at the Tokyo Dome. And then we have, of course, January 5th, Wrestle Dynasty, not only featuring New Japan and Stardom, but we will have AEW, CML, and Ring of Honor. And then, of course, we have on January 6th, New Year's Dash. So that's the events that are going to go on starting on the 29th of December all the way to the 6th of January. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, in regard to, of course, recently I announced that Kizuna Tanaka has left Pro Wrestling Wave. Well, GAMI, who's been part of the promotion for a long time, made this statement regarding about her. Kizuna Tanaka is leaving the company, but it's on good terms. Please understand, but when I was talking about this with the other wrestlers, they said, I'm with Wave too. Anyway, I'll do my best. This is what I wanted to say. So basically, there was no tensions of the reasons why she left. So it looks like everything went smoothly and amicably, but it's still unclear where she's going to go. Now, I do believe there is a possibility she could join another promotion. Recently, we have been seeing Mighty Gold having new talent from outside of non-stardom wrestlers that we probably would have assumed, but or probably get more in stardom. However, we'll see what uh, Kizuna will do. And then finally, Zack Sabre Jr. had this to say about, of course, about AEW, and he did this on the Forbidden Door media scrum. He said this: AEW has changed the entire industry because to be able to have a large single American company that complete respects pro wrestling did not exist before. So basically, he feels like this one. I mean, yeah, we see in AEW they treat the wrestlers like pro wrestlers. You look at WWE, they treat them like they're actors. That's like the whole thing. So that kind of sets it up, and I think he feels like now we can act like pro wrestlers in AEW. And I think that's something we have been seeing. I mean, we saw that similarly with at-risk girls, the ones that left to join Mighty Gold. So we'll see what happens from here on out. And I'm glad that Zack Sabre Jr. is recognizing AEW for what they are now. And I think the haters are probably not liking this, but it is what it is. It's his opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates and everything else. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have TNA and Ring of Honor. Now, I haven't decided yet if I want to, of course, know what I'm going to review. However, we do, as we speak, have Stardom and all this other stuff. I haven't decided. I'm still waiting to see if I'll be able to see it. There is some events I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip the much recent Noah and Mighty Gold, but do the much recent ones that we can think of, but we'll see where that goes. But I'm also thinking about reviewing Fortune Dream 9, which is Kenta Kobashi's produced show. This one took place last month, but it's not too late to review it because I think many of you are probably curious about this one. So we'll see how my day will turn out. But for right now, this is what I have for all of you. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.